University of Washington guard Jaylen Nowell, 5, walks back to the bench after a foul in the second half. The Washington Huskies played Seattle Pacific University in a preseason exhibition basketball game at Hec Edmundson Pavilion in Seattle, Washington, on Thursday, in November 1, 2018. Joshua.bessex joshua.bessex at gateline.com. University of Washington guard Jaylen Nowell, 5, walks back to the bench after a foul in the second half. The Washington Huskies played Seattle Pacific University in a preseason exhibition basketball game at Hec Edmundson Pavilion in Seattle, Washington, on Thursday, in November 1, 2018. Joshua.bessex joshua.bessex at gateline.com. Seattle. Jaylen Nowell has until April 22 to declare for the NBA draft. Right now, Washington head coach Mike Hopkins doesn't know which way the sophomore guard is leaning. In the coming weeks, Hopkins said he will likely sit down with Nowell and his family to discuss the future. Nowell, the Pac-12 Player of the Year, averaged 16.2 points, 5.3 rebounds and 3.1 assists this season. He shot 50.2% from the field and 44.0% from the three-point line. There's a process, Hopkins said during an season-ending meeting with the media on Wednesday. My philosophy has always been I want what's best for the kids. We'll sit down with Jaylen and go through the pros and cons. We're there to give him information and support 100%. The NCAA changed its early entry rules in 2016. While still maintaining their NCAA eligibility, players can attend the NBA Combine and team workouts between the early entry eligibility deadline on April 21 and May 29, which is 10 days after the end of the Combine. As long as Nowell doesn't hire an agent, he could test the NBA waters but still return to UW for his junior season. Even if he puts his name in, it gives him options, Hopkins said. If he wants to go and find out what they say about him and learn a little bit more because I know he wants to learn. He wants to do what he can do to get better. NBA Draft.net lists Nowell as the No. 36 player in the draft and projects him as the No. 34 pick, which would be early in the second round. I haven't looked at is it a weak draft, is it a good draft, what's next year's draft? Hopkins said, adding that's information he'll gather with his staff and share with Nowell. It's our job to give him the best information possible so he can make the best decision for him and his family possible. We'll go from there. There's a lot of bonuses to staying in school. He could be in a situation where he could graduate in 3 years and then decide to take that step. That's a great thing about the University of Washington is once you have that scholarship, you can go and come back. That scholarship is forever. Education is obviously a huge piece for his family and for us. Looking to the future, North Carolina exploited UW's lack of size during its second-round NCAA tournament win. But Hopkins said the Huskies will have a new look next year, and size will play a key role. For starters, UW will return 6'9" starting forward Hamir Wright and 6'11" Sam Timmons. Freshman Brian Penn Johnson, a 7-foot center, was a 4-star recruit considered by 247sports.com to be the number 1 player in Utah and number 21 center in his class. He played sparingly in the first 5 games of the season before injuring his foot and never returning, so he maintains his eligibility. Nate Roberts, 6'10", and Riley Sorn, 7'4", both 3-star centers, never saw the floor this season. Sophomore guard Nazia Carter and freshman guard Jamal Bay are both 6'6". UW will also add 5-star commit Isaiah Stewart, who 247sports.com ranks as the No. 6 player in the nation, number 1 player in Indiana and number 3 center in the country. Already impressing at McDonald's All-American game practices, he'll give the Huskies an elite presence inside. Next year, you could have them hold hands sideline to sideline, Hopkins said. That's a big difference than when you have a 6'3" guy at the back of the zone and your center is 6'7" and you're going in there and it's David and Goliath. There's different battles. We're going to have a lot of size. That was one of our weaknesses the year before. We played our veterans. We got good size. We've got improved athleticism in a lot of different ways. But we're going to be new. We're going to be in new roles and that's going to be a challenge. Finding leadership. The Huskies will lose beyond the court production of seniors Matisse Thiebaula, David Crisp, Noah Dickerson and Dominic Green next season. And perhaps just as significantly, they'll lose their leadership. Crisp was the unquestioned emotional leader of this year's team while the other seniors took control in their own ways. The underclassmen talked throughout the year about their calming presence on the court, especially in close games. Filling those gaps will be an important of preparing for next season, Hopkins said. Other than Nowell, Hopkins pointed to Carter as a potential leader. Carter averaged 8.1 points off the bench this season. People respect him, Hopkins said. There's guys that are natural leaders, just comes with the territory, it's what they are. Then you have guys you can teach to be leaders. They have great leadership ability, you just got to take them out of their shell and let them be guys that do that. When you're a leader, you got to do everything right. ... And Naz is that guy. Naz does everything right, from work ethic and being a great person and making a difference. Hopkins also said freshman point guard Elijah Hardy and Quade Green, a former five-star recruit who transferred from Kentucky and will become eligible at the start of the winter quarter, have natural leadership abilities. That's what they are, Hopkins said, and then you have guys that can turn into great leaders. I thought Jaylen was a guy that just evolved like no other. His game and his personality and feeling comfortable in his own skin, being vocal, especially when he came in with 4 seniors. Going international. Hopkins said UW trying to schedule an international tour, which would allow a young team to gain more experience heading into the season. He didn't provide any details. Teams can make an international trip once every 4 years. Duke star Zion Williamson affects NCAA tournament ticket prices. It's that simple. The cheapest ticket for a Sweet 16 game is in the Midwest region in Kansas City, while the East region in Washington, D.C. is more, way more. March 27, 2019 10 a.m. March 27, 2019 1:02 p.m. March 27, 2019 11 a.m. March 27, 2019 10:13 a.m. March 27, 2019 9:05 a.m.